Diablo 4's open beta marks the first time players will have unfettered access to the game, and while the scope of the event is limited, there are a number of important things we'll be able to learn from just a few days of testing. My name is Codiak, this is Legacy Gaming, and today I'm sharing the big things I'll be paying attention to during Diablo 4's open beta. Since we started covering Diablo 4 a short while ago, I've received a number of messages asking me what I hope to get out of the open beta. Now, truth be told, I'm open to the experience. I want Diablo 4 to blow me away and set the stage for the adventure I'll have on June 6th, not the other way around. That being said, based on what we know, there are a number of systems I'm desperate to learn more about, and I think the open beta will be the perfect opportunity to shed some light on important aspects of the game that will help determine its ultimate success or failure. First thing I'm really curious to learn more about is the game's shared world experience. It's no secret that Diablo 4 is inching closer to MMO territory, and that's something I'm anxious to experience for myself. During the open beta, we'll be able to fight Ashava, one of the game's world bosses, and this is new territory for Diablo. It's said that world bosses will require more than a dozen players to take down, and I want to know how that's all going to work from a technical standpoint. Will players have to form pre-made raid-style groups? Will seamless instancing occur once players get close to Ashava's location? Will the game have some sort of looking for group system? These are all pivotal questions that will inform what sort of group infrastructure the team can tap into post-launch. We know Blizzard has extensive experience with MMOs, and I'm sure there's plenty of knowledge sharing going on between teams, but it's unclear just how much the line between MMO and ARPG is being blurred, at least for now. It's safe to say Diablo 4's skill trees have gone through a number of changes since the game was first announced, and while there are already channels releasing build guides, I'm less than confident that things have stayed the same since the last closed beta. Skills are at the core of player identity in Diablo. That's always been the case, but this time around the team's ambition to create a rather deep skill tree system means there's a lot to unpack and explore. First and foremost, I'm curious to see how far the skill tree system allows players to push into various builds, and while we're only going to experience a fraction of the full potential due to that level 25 cap, we'll still get a taste for how skill tree progression will work and shape our experience. Second, I'm really interested to see how respecking actually works in-game. We know that individual nodes as well as entire trees can be reset, but at a cost. What I'm most interested in is the total cost of those respecs and if they feel balanced, even at the lower levels. During one interview, Rod Ferguson, executive producer in charge of Diablo, said that at some point it would cost less to re-level a character than to respec it, and that raised a number of red flags in my mind. For one, that doesn't seem like a great experience for players, especially after sinking all those hours into a character to level them up. On top of that, it's pretty clear that something like high respec costs could lead the team to sell gold within the in-game shop. It's a slippery slope, one I hope doesn't ever coalesce into a real concern. Finally, I'm really interested to experience the build potential via skills. Enough power fantasies. Make me really think about my builds and make strategic choices about how to build out my character. The notion from the team is that only 30 to 40% of a skill tree will be filled out at max level, which really excites me because it means players will have to make smart decisions about where to allocate those precious skill points. It also means build diversity is a much more realistic thing, and while there will almost certainly be metas for every class, these sorts of system limitations encourage exploration. Again, we don't get the full scope of that during the open beta, but we'll get a taste. Without a doubt, the single most important thing I think we can all get out of the open beta is the class combat experience. 5 classes, all available for testing for free. It's the perfect time for me to test out the Druid and see if it's actually still going to be my favorite class since it first burst on the scene in Diablo 2 over 20 years ago. Now that in mind, there are a few key things I'll be paying attention to as I test out classes. Diversity of moveset, impact of the unique class mechanic, how each class's resource is balanced, and overall how fluid and satisfying a class is to play. Now, some of that is a little wonky, but at the end of the day, I want to play a class that I enjoy and that starts with a solid foundation. Keep in mind, again, we're only getting access to play up until level 25, and some classes won't get their full kit until beyond level 30, but still, it's all about understanding the core of each class and if the potential is there. As I've said many times in the comment sections of our Diablo 4 videos, the open beta is free to play. You don't need to buy or pre-order anything, and that's pretty rare nowadays, so take advantage of it and test out a class or two. All 5 will be available for testing on that second weekend, and if one resonates with you, great. If not, you lose nothing by trying them out for that weekend. During the open beta, we'll have access to the prologue and Act 1. Now, I am by no means a Diablo expert, but I do generally enjoy the darker tones that are consistent across all Diablo stories. While not my main motivation to play the game, I'm definitely interested in the setup for the full Diablo 4 story. We know the events of the game take place a few decades after that of Diablo 3, and we know that Lilith, daughter of Mephisto, is our main antagonist. The story unfolds across Sanctuary as it has before. This mortal realm caught between the high heavens and burning hells has perished since the events of Diablo 3. The Haradrim, a group of mages and wizards tasked with protecting Sanctuary, are all but gone, and with Lilith's corruption spreading hatred across every corner of Sanctuary, things are plunged into darkness. That's all very Diablo-y, right? But the couple things I'm really interested to experience is the overall pivot to a female antagonist and how the Blizzard team presents her differently, if at all, to some of her former big bads in previous games. Of course, I'll also be paying attention to the writing. Aside from a few key characters like Deckard Cain, the Diablo team hasn't done a great job of creating memorable supporting characters. I'm really excited to see if they can turn a page, develop some meaningful characters, and ultimately tell a story that's cohesive and engaging. Finally, it's worth mentioning that one of the biggest issues plaguing PC games as of late has been performance, with developers prioritizing console performance far more than PC performance. And I get it to a degree. Consoles are more widely accessible, that's a known factor, but the quality of recent PC releases has been a mess. I'm not saying Diablo 4 is going to suffer from these issues. Blizzard is no stranger to PC games, but it is something worth keeping an eye on. The recommended PC specs aren't outrageous like some other new releases, so from a technical standpoint, fingers crossed it's smooth sailing. Now, on the flip side of that is server stability. Given that Diablo is leaning more into a shared world experience, I want to better understand what that means and how servers will work together to create a seamless experience for players. The team has already said that the open beta is a chance for them to stress test, so while server instability is likely to be something we experience during the open beta, it's really how those servers impact that shared world, almost MMO-like experience that I'll be keyed in on. Performance is a huge factor, let's not kid ourselves, and if the team creates a great game that plays poorly, the community is going to jump all over that. We've seen it time and time again, especially in the last year, so it's something worth keeping an eye on. As you can see, there's a lot I'm excited to check out once the open beta kicks off, and from classes and combat to the open world experience, our team plans on soaking it all in. Friends, this is just the beginning of our Diablo 4 coverage. We know you guys check out the channel for all sorts of games, but if Diablo 4 is on your radar and you want more content like this, including deeper guides and eventually some fun builds, hit that like button and consider subscribing. We also plan on opening up a Diablo 4 clan once the game goes live on June 6th, so if that's something you're interested in, consider joining Legacy Gaming on Discord. We recently reworked our entire server, so come hang out, win free prizes, talk about games like Diablo 4, and eventually group up with your fellow clanmates. Check out the link in the description below. My name is Codiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.